Chairwoman McLean, Ranking Member Porter, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for giving me the opportunity to testify today. My name is Preston Brashears. I am the Senior Policy Analyst for Tax Policy at the Heritage Foundation. The views I express today are my own and should not be construed as representing any official position of the Heritage Foundation. August 16th marked the one-year anniversary of the signing of the Inflation Reduction Act. The IRA, as the bill's title suggests, was intended to reduce inflation primarily through deficit reduction. But 1 year in, the Inflation Reduction Act has contributed to significantly higher deficits compared to last year. These deficits and malinvestments spurred by the IRA have added to inflationary pressure, which has forced the Fed to dramatically raise interest rates. Rates on a 30-year mortgage are at 20-year highs, putting the American dream out of reach for many American families. The IRA is making Americans poorer and turning them into debtors to the special interest green agenda. Although CBO and some other groups originally scored the IRA as achieving a small surplus over the 10-year budget window, the surpluses were backloaded at the end of the decade, while deficits were front-loaded into the first 4 to 5 years. And the IRA is much more fiscally irresponsible than it appeared on paper. It uses gimmicky and questionable pay-fors and expirations, and some of the provisions are proving much more costly than forecasters expected, especially the bevy of tax credits for green energy, electric vehicles, carbon sequestration, and other things ostensibly connected to the climate agenda. CBO initially scored these provisions as having a $270 billion budget impact through 2031, but in May, government forecasters estimated the cost of these credits was double the initial estimate. Some outside estimates have put that figure closer to $1 trillion, or roughly 4 times what the American public was originally told. The IRS's implementation of the green tax credits hasn't helped matters. When the IRA passed, analysts expected that relatively few vehicles would qualify for the EV credits because of strict limitations on foreign manufacturing, critical mineral content, and income limitations for the purchaser. However, the IRS has dramatically weakened those restrictions. First, Treasury delayed issuance of guidance for the battery component rules, so EVs sold between January 1st and April 16th qualified for the EV credits even if they didn't meet the domestic battery content requirements. Second, the IRS created a regulatory loophole by treating EVs that businesses lease to consumers as commercial clean vehicles. As a result, wealthy EV buyers and foreign manufacturers can circumvent income thresholds and domestic requirements by simply leasing the EVs instead of buying and selling them. Third, the IRS further extended the credits to foreign manufacturers by taking an incredibly expansive interpretation of the term free trade agreement to include extremely narrow trade deals covering EV critical minerals. Therefore, car sales with Japanese-produced batteries can qualify for the credits. The costly expansion of the green tax credits won't have a material effect on global temperatures because the U.S.'s share of global emissions is a mere 11%, and that number has been falling as China and India account for an increasingly large share year after year. Even if you accept dire predictions about global warming, and even if the U.S. completely eliminated greenhouse gas emissions, by the end of the century, it would only reduce global temperatures by no more than about 1/5 of a degree Celsius. But the IRA will not completely eliminate U.S. emissions, far from it. Based on the level of emissions reductions from the IRA that the IRA is expected to achieve, you're looking at less than a 0.03 degree difference in temperatures by the end of the century. And I think that's being generous, as that's only if you extend the emissions reductions out for the rest of the century at the cost of many more trillions of dollars. Lawmakers must weigh the benefits against the costs of the Inflation Reduction Act, and in my estimation, the IRA's benefits to special interest green companies are not worth the cost to American taxpayers and consumers.